mission statement in this way is that it allows you to connect all of those stakeholders that you are going to be working with in a way that all of them are adding value to the whole process, or the process as a whole, in the sense of your project, the potential that you are seeing will become that connection, that relationship to all of these stakeholders. And that means that they will give you value, they will add value into your own project, and you are adding value into their lives. And this potential or this value can be monetary, so it can be money, it could be showcasing, it could be resources, it could be all of that, or it's only just changing the way people live their lives, their ways of behaving, and so on. So it's a win-win for everyone. And this is one of the aspects of thinking in a regenerative way, is how can we enhance, how can we improve the livelihood of the people within this local community, but not from bringing something that is not from that community, but really exploring what is inside and living within that community. So first of all, let's think about it in this way. And then, when you're ready, thank you. Can you pass the, here. So Pentad groups, you have customers, you have co-creators, you have earth, you have community, and you have investors. And I'm going to start with investors. Investors, financial capital. Let's think about this inside of the project that we are doing now, inside of this process, inside of this hackathon. So your investors today, it might change in the near future, but your investors today are going to be the external evaluators, are going to be not only Cardano in the sense of WADA that is holding the whole CATS, and then Cardano with ADA and all of the money that you're going to be winning within the sort of this contest. By the way, I'm from Argentina, so my first language is not English. And if there is anything that I say that is sort of strange, please let me know and I can sort of look for an alternative. But think about it, you're going to be showcasing your own projects, which means you're going to be showing to the world what you're doing, what are you thinking, and how you develop your own project, so that people, potential investors, can come and see that and say, hey, I want to invest in Nigeria, and this is what is happening here, and in this local community. Or with everything that you've written in the docs and all the process of visible developing of that project, you're going to be applying maybe to Fund 16 in Cardano so that you can get more ADA, and then you can pay or distribute that financial assistance in any way that you choose to, right? So what you're doing here is not only thinking about possible investors in financial capital, but also thinking how you can move forward your own project in such a way that is more visible all around. So that's investors. Communities, social infrastructure. Community is the local community that you're walking in. And when you're asking the questions that you're asking in the ground truth, and when you're getting into the insights and you're going through the hypotheses and so on, what you're doing is you're fully understanding your community in a complex way, in a very sort of developed and understood way, through your eyes, which is regenerative principles eyes. So you're going to be seeing the whole. And most likely, if you're talking to your neighbors, or you're talking to a school, or you're talking to an institution or an organization, you're going to be seeing their own perspective. But what you're weaving in when you go walk the community is you're thinking about something that goes beyond the way that they think of their community. So this is really interesting. Your community is a potential, is a grounding aspect, is where you're going to be working on, and so forth. but you need to show them, and this is something that is very important, you need to show them the possibility of something else, of something different, of something that you are presenting or you're developing that will change the livelihoods of people. And that may take some time, or it might have restraints or some judgments about change, but the whole idea is that they fully understand and develop and see your view the way that you're developing. Earth, resources, and life foundation. Earth is, if we have regenerative principles, is based on enhancing life. So enhancing life means enhancing life for people, but also for non-human beings. So it could be animals, it could be whatever it is within your local community. It could be a river, it could be mountains, it could be any landscape that you are engaging with, okay? So thinking about value adding in the way that the earth thinks is, am I improving the livelihood of this earth, of this place, of this terrain, of this region, or am I hindering it? This is a really interesting question. And I want to bring something that happens a lot, which is usually when we bring solutions from other places, and this, I live in Latin America, so I live in Argentina. And a lot of the solutions that come, they come from abroad. They come from Europe or they come from the United States, and they don't work here. Because socially we are different, our costumes are different, and the way that we treat life here is quite different. So, for example, there's a lot of changes in farming in all around Latam, but especially in Buenos Aires and in Argentina. And we need to develop our own practices that make sense to our own context. So this is the way that you start changing the way you think, right? So having the potential of Earth as well in the center of everything. Then co-creators. Co-creators are, it's you because you're one of the creators, but also your peers. I don't know if you have multidisciplinary groups or teams in this hub, Morgan, but creators, talent and creativity means I am a psychologist, so I can see social impact and social movements in a very specific way. Tobias, which is it's another person from Prisma, he's an engineer. So he thinks and sees things in a very different way. We, as a team, create a different type of value because we share our views and our understanding and our creations into the process. So we can think about projects and different aspects of that project in very different ways. And if we engage, what it happens is we start creating an idea through all of that, right? And then you have customers, is who's gonna be interested in what is happening? Who's gonna be using your project, your service, your product? Who care about what you're developing, right? And then how can you add value to their life, and how can them add value to your own project? And here is the sort of the regenerative shift. What we think is, how can we develop capabilities within all of those stakeholders? What is it that I am doing that is adding value to these people's lives, to all of these stakeholders, to Earth, to community, to investors, right? Do you want to go on, Morgan? One slide. So value-adding role. This is important. Usually, if we have a business background or anything like that, we tend to think about value-added product. And value-added product is, well, I've developed sort of a phone that works in this and this way, and this is the value of this phone. When we say value-adding process or value-adding role, what we are thinking is a constant movement of value. So it's not only going to be one time, one use, or one time for 4 or 5 years until the phone dies. It's more about how am I improving the livelihood of all these stakeholders over and over time. And then you can step into that pentad, into that different stakeholders, and see how is, if I'm Earth, how is it that I'm adding value, and how is it that the project is adding value to Earth? If I'm the community, how is it that the community is adding value to my project, and how is the project adding value to the community? So it's a relationship in a way that it's always adding value and shifting our understanding of value a little bit in a way that is very specific to the context, to the quality of life. Next one. So we have customers, co-creators, and then you have a very sort of small definition of it. For example, this group encompasses employees, contractors, and suppliers who provide intelligence, creativity, and labor. How they add value, they invest their skills for fair compensation. Crucially, the business invests back by offering opportunities for personal and professional development, strengthening their capacity inside and outside the workplace. Can you pass to the next slide? Earth, the next one.
Community.
So great. So I want to show this because this is very visible, and I thank you, Morgan, for developing this presentation because I think it's great. So look at the difference between thinking it as a value-added process, as a regenerative process, and the difference between thinking of it as an extractive process. So stakeholders, right? Customers, revenue source to be mixed. And then if we think it in a living systems ways, is partners whose lives are enhanced. Co-creators, cost of labor to be minimized. And then if I think it from a regenerative view, is talent to be developed and empowered. Earth, resources to be exploited, extracted, depleted. 2, living systems to be replenished. So can you see the difference between one and the other? It really shifts the way that we understand things. And what I'm hearing, and I was here, I think, a few minutes. You started, but I could listen to some projects. Maybe what you can do now is that you have a group, now you have an idea of what the problem statement or the potential that you're sort of taking on is. Go through these stakeholders and try to design and think, what is it that we are adding value to this? Is there any stakeholder that we haven't spoken to, that we need to bring on board, that will have impact in my project or the potential of this community that I'm developing, that I haven't thought before, and it might change and it might add value in a very different way if I think it through this lens, right? Can you show me the next slide?
I think that's really the end. So
okay, good.
It's cool then.
So just so you imagine, try to imagine, because this is what I didn't think, and it's useful to think about it. I am drawing so it's like this, right? Not like this. So it's like a star, the pentad, right? You put Earth here, community, co-creators, customers, and so on. So think it like that. Try to have it as a star, and go through the same of that. That will develop your thinking, and we'll do it more comprehensively. And one of the evaluations aspects of the whole hackathon and the whole process is going to be, has this project applied principles of regeneration, right? So that's it. I don't know if there is any questions or anything that you want to ask or bring, whatever is emerging for people.
Okay, so earlier in the presentation, you mentioned if the teams were from different disciplines. Yes, they are. I think most teams have people across sciences, there's social sciences, some people from mass comm, some have artists, the art students, and the engineering students. It's really a cross interdisciplinary team.
I love it. I love it. You know what? Because Cardano, Cardano integration, which is the tech part, is going to be a little bit important at the very end. But I think what you're doing and how comprehensive you're taking this, this understanding of this process, it will allow you to really bring beautiful projects to the surface. And I am sure that some of the ideas that I've heard are really up there, you know, because at the end of the day, we will choose, right? Yeah, so I hope yeah, all of you or some of you can get to Nairobi.
Well, I hope all of them get to go. I mean, I hope all the 5 teams get to come from my hub.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Thank
You're
you so
doing
much.
such a great job.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Delfina. So hello guys, please, if you have any questions, you could put up your virtual hands, or you could type them in the chat box, whichever one you feels more comfortable for you.
Yeah. And Morgan, if there is any question that comes up by doing this process that maybe you don't know how to move or how to treat one of the stakeholders or whatever, just let me know. We are in contact, you know?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will forward it to you. Enaya Bakar, I see your hand. You could unmute your mic and share your thoughts.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Right. So I just joined the hub this week, and I've been trying to catch up. So this session has been very helpful in helping me understand the process. Well, one challenge I ran into during the ground truths or with what I've done so far is that in my community, they are conflicting issues. When I tried talking to them, I realized there are a lot of things affecting different people. So I'm kind of lost on which one to go with. Like, so do I just pick one, or how do I go about that?
So I have an idea. So first of all, one of the things that I would do is I would write down the different profiles of people that have been affected by what you're seeing, and then see what's the pattern in them. Because I imagine all of them are exposed to this, but maybe they share something that is very particular of that. So try to find what's that unique profile that they all share, although they are all diverse, I imagine. There might be something that it clicks. So I will write down a little bit of them. I would ask, how is this affecting them and why? And try to see the patterns of connection to the problem statement.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ene, for asking your questions. I really appreciate when you do, because in a way it shows bravery. Yeah, there's always some element of to put up your hand and speak up. But please, you're encouraged to do so. If you have questions or if there's anything along the line processes you may not fully understand, please ask so you could get comprehensive understanding of the processes before we move into the development phase. So I'd like to ask any more questions.
I think I left everyone in shock. But Morgan, I can jump out and leave you with your call with everyone here. And if there is any question that comes up, send it my way. I am here to support you on your process. And thank you for gathering on a Saturday night. I can say that for sure.
Thank you so much for taking out the time to, come really explain these processes to us. We really loved having you around. Thank you so much. And yes, if any question comes up, I will, come straight to you to help us out again. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Okay, so moving on, guys. You've heard about what Mrs. Delfina had to say. She came in to really talk about the whole value creation and sharing formula. And as you realized, she started with the investors to let you know that this hackathon really isn't just a project you build and go. The real goal of it is, Karano will be inviting different investors really to come and listen, to come and go through, the projects you are currently working on. And that's where she was mentioning about how the evaluation will be going. Like we said earlier, the top 5 teams will be going to Nairobi, and for that evaluation part, they will be bringing in external evaluators, external to WADA, Prisma, Hub, and they'll be the ones to judge. And like she said, they'll be judging primarily based on if your project has followed the regenerative development principles. So really just the last part, because I've worked with some of your teams, is to really clean up the opportunities part and really identify how value flows using dependence as a model, or should I say as a template to describe your stakeholders. From over the course of the next, no, not the next really, from on Monday to Wednesday, those 3 days, I'll also be having calls with each team. I will set up a scheduling link tonight, and hopefully by tomorrow I should post it to the group. So if you like to schedule a call to really understand more, please use the link and schedule a time where your team and I could have a one-on-one mentorship session where I will I can give tailored responses to your team's unique problems. So after all that's been said, we were supposed to announce the winners for the grand potentializing phase and really close up the phase today. But as you realized, Mrs. Delfina came to speak to us about value creation, and I think it's wise that we, really just do all of it in the beginning before we start building. So the deadline will be extended to Wednesday, and all teams are advised to really go back to what they've been working on. Really the ending phases. I mean, if you have hypotheses, validate your hypothesis, and once it's validated,